everybody. Welcome to Subconsciously Speaking. I'm Ilah Brock-Renzi, and this is another wonderful episode of Subconsciously Speaking. Some of you don't know who I am. Maybe you've watched a couple of my episodes. I know I've sent some clients to a couple of my episodes, but maybe it'd be nice just to know, who am I? So a bunch of questions have been created, and they're going to be on the screen. My editor's going to just, get funky about it and ask the questions. They're silent. I guess they call this the silent interview. I don't know. So, and I'm just going to answer them and respond to the questions. Okay. There's a few, and then we'll just do that. And some of it might turn into stories or whatever. I'll make this as short as possible. I know I've always said that, but you know what I mean. Okay. So we're going to start now with the first question. My name is Ilah. I've always been known as Ilah. And my last name's changed. Now, until I was 18, I had my birth name, and then I was adopted at the age of 18. Then my Brock is my maiden name. And then I had gotten married, and I dropped Brock and added that married name. Then I got divorced, and I dropped that, and I came back to Brock. And then I got married again and widowed, but I added his name instead of removing it. I know, there's just a lot. So whenever it says alias on the forms, it takes me a minute to fill those out. But that's this thing about my surname, at least. My first name is Ilah. It's actually the Hebrew spelling. It's a masculine root word meaning exalted one, and it's from the Bible. It's the AH, whatever the equivalent is in Hebrew to our English AH. It's just how they honored Jehovah. Because in our English word, when we spell the word Jehovah, it ends in AH. So there's very famous people in the Bible, like Nehemiah or Isaiah or whatever. Their names ended in AH. And from what I understand, they added the AH as a way of honoring, when they would name their children. Next question. Favorite affirmation, mental mantra would I've got lots of them, but one that comes to mind, couple. If it's going to be, it's up to me. No one's coming to me to hand life to me on a silver platter. If I'm going to make something happen, I have to get off my derriere and just walk through the proverbial doorway. The other one is, if you want to change your life, you need to start first by changing your mind. If you go back to episode 2, I go into that. Your mind teaches you what, and teaches the body what to do. So you have an idea in your head and you really believe in. Now you got to train the body and your surrounding to adapt to it. That's my meaning behind those. Next question. My own self-care and mental alignment. I use a lot of self-hypnosis. I do read a lot. I have some people that I follow. I also have people that I talk to. Some of you may already know I was widowed a few months ago, and it's been a tough time trying to stay in realignment, just trying to get that mojo, and also realizing just this past week even, I'm not going to be the same person I was before I became a widow. Even though I was only married a little while, we'd only known each other a few years, I'm still not going to be that same person, because we were pretty much attached as one, and now half of me has gone. So but taking care of my own self-care. So I go to meetings, I talk to my colleagues and those that are my mentors. I've got several that I talk to, and God, there's a little bit of God, and there's a lot of bit of God in there, and just definitely trying to keep myself in alignment to my own personal beliefs and scruples and such. Next question. Totally surprised myself with growth. Well, these past 3 months, when Mike passed, I have definitely surprised myself. I'm not sitting in a corner sucking my thumb. I think that I'm grounding, I'm trying to stay grounded, and there are things that I need to accomplish to continue my grounding. And one of them is something I tell my own clients. And I'm going to have to prepare for this and get this, get tools to it. But grounding yourself, physically grounding yourself. And I recommend, first thing in the morning, if you can in the morning. If you work nights and you get home at 7 a.m., then do this at 7 a.m. I've heard it said that between about 6 a.m. and 8:30 a.m., that's the best time for grounding on this side of the hemisphere. I'm in California. And then putting your feet actually in the dirt for a minute, or two or whatever, and just taking in some sun. It's supposedly the science that I've heard, I haven't actually researched it or whatever, can help sleep. So these are things that I want to incorporate, and I don't have a healthy dirt patch yet that I've created that I want a really healthy piece of, like a 3x3 square of dirt, but I can actually go put my feet in and then go get in the shower, of course. Okay, next. I'm still learning about myself. How strong I am, because people do tell me that, and I really have a hard time with really? It's not that I don't believe it, I don't not believe it, I don't see it. But maybe, I guess, it's, but just learning that it's okay to be strong, and it's okay to have that resilience and move forward, and then not feel, bad about it. There's just a lot going on in my personal life that I'm just navigating every day, learning my new normal and who this new Ilah is, if you will. Next question is, so okay. The moment I realized I'm where I'm supposed to be. The moment I walked into the school that trained me to be a hypnotherapist. It's a school in Tarzana, California, in the San Fernando Valley. It's been there since 1968, and they're a nonprofit. It's called Hypnosis Motivation Institute. You can check them out at hypnosis.edu. They've been around, for 57 years or so? I walked into that school for a tour on the recommendation of my hypnotherapist. I've never looked back. It was like I walked into home. I just walked into home. It was so welcoming, and still is incredibly welcoming. I excelled beyond my wildest dreams in that school. This is when I realized I am right where I am supposed to be. Okay, next. Biggest influence and why would have to be my husband, my late husband. He challenged me, or he had come up with ideas, sometimes really corny. I couldn't even tell you any because they were so corny. I'm like, you really? Or I wouldn't want to hurt his feelings or whatever. But he helped me pick the name of my business. I wanted a really cool name, but something that people could remember. So Central Valley, those two words are used in a lot of the businesses here in the Central Valley. So let's just add hypnotherapy to it. I think there's another one in Fresno that's similar, but it doesn't use the word hypnotherapy. And then recently I've added in wellness center. So for now, I'm just not a wellness center yet. I'm working on it. I'm probably going to be adding virtual reality later. But I have mentors. I have some amazing people that do personally, and some people that I follow on different Instagram reels. Like Mel Robbins, she is pretty good. And there's people that I don't even know, they just have titles for their reels, not their names, and they really give me a sound and piece of, it's like, oh, I'm going to extrapolate. Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's been an amazing, I think I heard he went to my school. I could be wrong, but that's what I'd heard. Anyway, those are some people. A great one that I reach out to most often. His name is Joe Tabanella of the Tab Technique. GPSyourfuture.com, I think is his website. An amazing guy, just so full of understanding, and he gets this, and he gets what I'm going through. Okay, next. Surprised to learn about me. Well, before I started hypnotherapy, becoming a hypnotherapist, I was actually in law school. I'm a sign language interpreter, been in and out of sign language interpreting for about 30 some years. And I wanted to be an advocate for deaf and discrimination against people with disabilities. That's kind of where a focus that I had with it, because I had been around the deaf for so long, and I'd just seen so many inconsistencies. Just going into a hospital as a deaf person and in an emergency, and I've heard that you're entitled to and you have the right to an interpreter in your language. And I've heard them use janitors that have just a limited amount of sign language, but it says in the ADA, qualified interpreter. You don't even have to be certified. You just need to be qualified. That means more than just finger spelling the alphabet. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Let's see. That's a good one. Visalia. When I first moved here, remember, I'm a city girl. I come from Los Angeles, from Long Beach, the San Fernando Valley. I've lived in all three of those places over the course of 25 years. And to come to Visalia was very different. Now, I moved actually from Tehachapi to Visalia, but I was in Tehachapi just renting a room and driving to Los Angeles. Look it up, Tehachapi, California to the Woodland Hills. That's about a 2.5 hour drive each way. And I did that a few days a week because my office was in Woodland Hills. But when I moved here, of course, I gave up my office and I wasn't sure what I was going to do because it was still the end of 2020. I realized, I went out for errands one day and I'm like, and my husband was trying to direct me, okay, to save backtracking, go here, go there. And it's like, no. In Visalia, I am 15 minutes away from anywhere I need to be 95% of the time. There's a little bit of traffic in construction areas. They have a few construction areas going on. 15 minutes away. I can be on the north side of town, go to the south side of town. It'll take me 15 minutes, 20, 25 minutes to get to the next town. I'm okay. So I don't mind backtracking back and forth. Now let's compare it. When I was in the San Fernando Valley, I lived in Encino. My house was 1.1 miles from my office in Tarzana. There were 7 stoplights and 1.1 miles. It could take me 40, 45 minutes to get to my office. Here, it's not done. You're 15 minutes away. Where are you? I'm at Walmart. Okay, I'll see you in 15 minutes. Miles isn't even part of it. So it's how many minutes you are, and that's just kind of how it works. So it also, professionally, Visalia, I wasn't sure if it was ready for hypnotherapy because it's a farm town. Lots of farming out here. And there's also some progressive growth. Are they really ready? Yep. Visalia is more than ready to bring in a hypnotherapist, and I could use a Spanish-speaking one. If you know of any who would like to move up here, let them contact me. Okay, next question. I am originally from the San Gabriel Valley, born in West Covina, lived in Azusa, and then all over the LA area. I also lived in Texas outside of Fort Worth for about 3 years, from like 12 to about 15. And then from 15 to about 18, I lived in northern Nevada in a podunk town called Silver Springs, which is an hour and a half south of Reno. That was probably the most remote I've ever lived. And let me tell you, it made Little House on the Prairie very suburban. I'm telling you, it was out in the middle of nowhere. Take a right, keep going, and you're almost there. Learned a lot with those experiences, from city to suburban life to sagebrush and sand, and then back to Southern California. Okay, so the next question. Success for me now is my happiness. It's not a dollars and cents kind of thing. Yeah, it's important to have that kind of success, but I think that just evolves. That's just a byproduct of just being happy with yourself and continuing and moving forward. And it'll continue to evolve when, from the very practical sense of being successful. It was probably 2 years ago this January. I'm a part of a private Facebook group for hypnotherapists, and somebody had asked about how do you get clients? And it occurred to me while I was trying to answer that question, I don't get clients. I don't seek after them. I can, and I still do to some degree, but they find me. Now, I need to ramp it up a little bit. I did lose my husband's check now that I am the sole breadwinner of my home. So that will get amped up and starting to add some new modalities or new things into my repertoire, if you will, and just making some changes that'll be beneficial to my clients mostly, and then, later on to me. Okay. Next. This is a good one. A universal truth. The human mind can change. You can change it. It's like, but you have to do it. No one's going to do it for you. So if you have people in your life and you're like, they just won't change, and they're not going to until they're ready. They're not going to do a single thing about changing until they're ready to make that change. That's on them. But the human mind can change. And all it takes, it has to be rehearsed and practiced and become comfortable. There is an element of discomfort. Here's another good question that came across my path. It's okay to change. And it's okay that people around you don't like it, because it's not about them, it's about you. So it's okay to make some changes. Your subconscious mind accepts those changes once they become comfortable, once they become comfort zone. I'd love the world to understand that the subconscious mind is changeable. You make it believe that it's changed. It's almost like you can make your subconscious mind believe whatever you want it to believe, and then go from that to anything else. And you can make it happen. So world, get out there and just make some changes. It's challenging and sometimes it hurts, but it's okay. All right, next. I think I may have already answered this question, but we'll throw it out there. What drew me to hypnotherapy? Going and seeing a hypnotherapist. I'm in law school, I'm studying, I'm seeing this hypnotherapist, realizing some things about me I didn't know, and now I love it. I'm like, whoa, these changes are so fast. The first day I'm walking to my car. Whoa, what is this? This has been the most amazing transformation in my life. I saw my brother a few months after I started seeing my hypnotherapist, and we were just talking, and he's like, whoa, what happened? I got my sister back, I guess I had just been clouded and some sort of veil of negativity wrapped around me for decades. And it left. My calling, you just know when something is what you're supposed to do. I made I don't want to call this a joke, just a lighthearted comment over the years. I would do this even if I have to live in my car. I don't want to live in my car. Okay? I'm just making a metaphor, universe, okay? But that's my calling. Is it something you're going to do no matter what? Yeah, no matter what, it's what I'm going to do. Force me to stop. Try it. Just there you go. Ooh. All right, next question. My answer to this is the word pivot. Remember, some of you are friends, the sitcom Friends with Ross Geller. Pivot, pivot, pivot. I pivot. I incorporate all of my modalities into any one session. I don't just say, come on in for NLP or come on in for IEMT, Integral Eye Movement Therapy, or NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming, how we do behavior. Hypnotherapy, I just pivot to what's needed when it's needed at the time. So, and there's a lot of techniques, hundreds and hundreds of techniques in the NLP world. And I know a lot of them. And so as I'm talking to a client, I might, okay, we need to do parts therapy, or we might need to do some timeline therapy or whatever. I'll look at what they're explaining to me, and it's like, oh, I need them to see what's going on in their mind, how they're doing their behavior. And once they understand how they're doing their behavior, we can continue. And it's almost like a aha moment for them, and like the little light bulb goes off. I mostly now use hypnotherapy, NLP, and IEMT. That's like my 3 go-tos because they all incorporate very well together. And there's many modalities within each one of those that I can pivot to as I know for my client. Every session's customized with every client. So no 2 sessions are identical, even with the same client. From session to session, it's going to be different depending on what they want to accomplish. All my sessions are client directed. So what do you want to accomplish today? I'm not going to design that for you. You're going to have to let me know. And if you don't know, well, I've said this to many clients. They come in, they feel great. They've seen me a few times. And now it's, what do you want to accomplish? I don't know. I feel great. Then why are you here? They feel this obligation to come see me. I've often lightheartedly, again, my job is to work myself out of a job with every client and then just do maintenance. Some clients see me twice a month. That's all they need. After they've seen me every week for a little while, now it's twice a month, and they're happy with that. And that's fine. Some once a month. Some I'll call you when I need you. And I'm okay with that, as needed. Sometimes it's once a year. Sometimes it's a couple of times a year. It's just the client directs it to me. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Oh, misnomers, the myths about hypnosis, that it's mind control, because it's not. It really isn't. Don't look at the television shows or the Get Out. I think there's that movie or whatever. I've never seen it. That's not what it is. It's just a heightened state of awareness. Your body's relaxed, your mind's wide open, and you have control. You have all the control. I don't have my clients talk while they're in. I want them to be that's a safety net for them, while they're in it. Now we can do journeys where they actually do talk, and they're in a lighter state, but for the most part, everyone's as deep as I can get them before a delta wave. I don't want them to fall asleep. And I just have them go on their own inner journeys. And it's such a beautiful thing, but I don't want anyone to think that I'm controlling them. All I do is guide. I don't create colors for them. I don't tell them, unless there's something specific that we spoke about. I don't use colors. I might say you might see colors, but I'm not going to tell you which ones they are. Now, smoking cessation's a whole other ballgame. That's one I use the color red in. So yeah, it's not mind control, it's not magic, and it's not a cure. Please understand that. Okay, next question. The most rewarding experience that just watching my clients grow. Recently, a gal came in and she was wanting to quit smoking. 10 years, and she was just, I'm done. When somebody comes in to quit smoking, I give them a cool red folder with a lot of information. They have a self-contract. They have a list of things that they can do, and I give them a swag bag. And that's the first hour. We just go through that. Then we go through what's about to happen, and then we do the hypnotics. I record it. So just watching them know when they come in 2 hours later, they come in smoke-free, they leave smoke-free. And just with a wonderful, those are wonderful, rewarding experiences that I've seen. People going from years and decades of anger to all of a sudden, it's just not there anymore. I love those kind of changes, and sometimes they can happen while they're in my office and might take 2 or 3 sessions. It's awesome. Okay, next. growth, inner growth, and I don't get nearly as upset. I'm not an angry person per se. I get irritated right recently. I think it's because my husband died. So little things irritate me. But I'm overcoming that. I'm realizing it. So I'm working on that. But as a person, I get to, I've also stopped therapizing everybody. It's my new word, therapizing. So when I see somebody, I don't just like, well, you have this problem. I can't diagnose, but hey, you should come in and see me. This is what we can do for your problem. You want to quit smoking? Well, let's try this. Whatever. I don't do that anymore. As a matter of fact, I basically don't tell people I'm a hypnotherapist unless they ask, what do you do for a living? I try to stay away from that. I want them to ask me and then let them cock their head and go, what is that? And then I can open the door to knowledge. So yeah, as a person, it's changed me from just being overzealous to just chill, a little more chill. Next up is, people do ask me about my zaniest clients, and you know what? People are not zany. None of my clients are. There have been some doozies that I wish I could just explain certain things that are going on in certain people's lives. I can't. It's just for their anonymity, just to help them know that they can trust and come in here, and this is a space for them to talk. I'm not going to repeat anything. Even like, there's a lot of people that come in for anxiety. Okay, I can say that. You don't know who they are, and you don't know what a lot of people mean. And I do Zoom sessions all over the world, so that's very general. Zaniest, I've had some. See, here's the thing with zany. If I tell you something that's zany and you live here in Visalia, you might know that person because it's so out of the norm of normal. Oh, I know somebody who had that experience. I wonder if it's them. I don't want you to know. So we'll just let it go. Okay, next one. This is one that bothered me up until I was about 53 years old. I know it's hard to believe I'm not 53. I'm a little older than that. I don't care, but if they don't like me, I don't care. I really don't care if people don't like me. I don't lose sleep over it anymore. I'm not a people pleaser. I'm not going out of my way to make somebody like me. That's not what we should be about. You know what? This is it. And we can learn a lot from women, because most men have that mono-minded thing going on in their head. I don't get it, but we can think of 1,000 things at once. But when a man has a one-word answer, he's just meaning that. There's no emotion behind it. He says no thank you, or he says yes, or he says, get me a glass of water. You don't know if he wants ice in it or not. Decide. He doesn't care. So if people don't like me, they don't like me. I just really taking on that persona, and I feel it. And I love that about me. I love that about me. And then lastly, the last question of the day. I'm not insecure. Boy, was I for years. And talk about insecure. If I heard people whispering, I always assumed it was about me. It's not about me. It's never about me. And I don't care if it's about me. And if someone wants to talk about me, great, let them talk about me. They're at least not talking about somebody else. And my name's getting put out there in the universe. I'm okay with that. Let that charge it. Let that energy just flow into positivity. I'm not sensitive a little bit about certain things like my family. Don't mess with my family. But the insecurity, I don't have an insecure bone in my body. I'm not jealous type at all. Now, get in the way of my man, I'm going to go fight for him. But if he steps up out of bounds, then I'm going to punch him in the throat. He doesn't have to worry about that anymore now, does he? Anyway, but that's just, metaphorically speaking. Anyway, so those are a bunch of questions that have come across my desk, literally right here across my desk. And if you have other questions, just put them in the comments and I'll get to answering them. Or you can find me at centralvalleyhypnotherapy.com or 559 559-749-4803. 559-749-4803. And yes, I can help the deaf with hypnosis. See you next time.